Yeah, little twinkles. Yeah, I was talking about one of the, the teachings of Don Juan. He says to walk the path of the warrior. There's four things you have to overcome, and number one is fear, then clarity, power, and old age. And I found that that's really true because the fear is the first step, and that's the most. Until you get past being afraid of anything, you're going to be spinning your wheels forever. And there's still things that I look at my own life and I think, okay, I don't have any fears, but I do. There's a lot of that's still buried deep within the subconscious from years past, uh, and they will surface every now and then, and that's when, instead of being angry or being afraid of what it is, that's an opportunity right there to take that look at yourself and say, okay, why is this situation making me fear anything? And that's the way you overcome the fear, slowly, step by step. And it's a lifelong thing because fear is a part of who we are as human beings. But you got to get past that because anything, and I found this to be so true, anything that you are afraid of, even if it's buried in your subconscious, you're not aware of it, it will eventually have to manifest. That's life's way of making you overcome your fear. You got to face it head on. So if you've got to say, when you're a kid, like in my case, being taught in religion that you got to belong to this church and you got to do all these things, and if you don't do just right, then you're going to go to hell and be punished eternally. Now to me, that's a hell of a thing to teach your kids. I don't care how much you believe that. Even if I still believe that, if I had a little kid I was raising, I would not put that in their mind. Even if I thought it, I might say, well, yeah, you need to belong to the church, you need to do this, it's just a good thing. But I wouldn't want to put that in there, that if you don't, you're going to go to hell. I mean, that's a disservice to the children. I don't care how much you believe it.
I agree.
I think that's how it works. Like I mentioned earlier, that the fears that we've buried, they surface in ways, and we don't even know why something will happen to us. And if we could stop long enough to think, when something bad is happening to you, if you stop at that moment, instead of being angry or have your feelings hurt or feeling sad or depressed, if you, instead of putting your energies there, take all your energies at that moment and put them on, okay, what did I do to bring this into my life? Because this society today, we want to blame everybody else for something that's going wrong in our life. A lot of the young adults now, it's easy for them to blame their upbringing. Well, it's mom and dad's fault, or it's somebody's fault. It's not my fault. I didn't have nothing to do with it. It just happened. And I have things happen to me that I don't think that I really did anything for this person to treat me that way. But instead of being angry with them now when something like that happens, I just stop and think, okay, what is my part in this? Why did I bring this into my reality? And that in turn helps me to look. And when I look deep enough, I always find out why it's happening. Is because there was something for me to learn about myself. And trust me, I've had some tough lessons. Yeah, we all do, but that's the way it works. Yeah, and when you can learn to take that honest look at yourself and quit blaming everybody else, that's when you find a freedom that's I can't put it into words. It's beautiful. It really is. It makes you laugh. It's like I used to have fear of relationships because I didn't want to be, I don't know, maybe losing my freedom.
Yeah, controlled.
Yeah. And it was like, I'm not proud of the fact in my younger days, my relationships with women if they lasted 6 months, that was a long time for me, because I look back now at some friends of mine, and we would date and get along great, and then I'd get nervous. It's getting too deep. So either I would do something to mess that up, or they would do something to mess it up. Anyway, it was just a constant thing with me. And I never really thought much about it at the time, but now as I've gotten older and look back on those days, I think you were just so full of fear. You was afraid, especially to get married. It's like, oh gosh, I ain't gonna do that. I have to give up too much, what's this? But luckily, I met Susan, and we were married for 20 years, and it was great. There was no fear or nothing involved in there, but that's just the way it works. It really is. But I think if everybody could overcome their fears, it opens up all the new avenues to you. And again, it's so tricky because we got so many fears that we bury and we don't know we got them. And that's why people will come to me and they'll be miserable, and they're looking for, a better way of life or whatever. And if I tell them, the first thing I did was try to unlearn what I'd been taught, look at things from a new perspective, and look at it without being fearful of the results, and step out and take a chance. Like Don Juan says, a warrior makes 1,000 decisions a day. Well, you make a decision, then you don't care whether it's right or wrong or somewhere in between, because there's going to be more decisions be made later. So if you make a decision and it turns out to be one that brings you pain and heartache, what the heck? Well, I did it, now I'm going to make a different decision. So you got to overcome the fear. That's the first step, and I think the most important step. But anyway, going back, I think I got off track, but the 4 things, overcoming the fear, and then the next step was clarity, and that's getting your mind right, which is a lifetime work too.
Especially when it starts to go downhill.
Exactly, exactly. But another thing I've learned, the things that hurt you the most in this life are the biggest opportunities for you. That's why Don Juan says you ought to hug all the petty tyrants in your life, which I do, and say thank you. What you did to me really created a lot of strife and hurt and all this negative stuff in my life, but I needed that, so thank you. So you get your mind clear, the clarity, you realize I'm going to discover my truth, and I'll share that with anybody that might get some good out of it, but I'm not going to preach to nobody and tell them you got to do this or you need to do that, because I don't know what you need. Nobody knows what you need. You got all these people in control of everything, so to speak. The religious people, the politicians, everybody that makes the rules. You got to think this way. You got to do that. Well, I got news for them. They don't know what I need. I don't know what they need. I don't know what they're here for. That's why I can love the people out on the street, the people that, the murderers, the rapists, the people that do bad things. Do I like that? Of course not. Could I change it? If I could, I would. Yes, but I can't. I don't know what those people are here to learn, So what they're doing, whatever path they've chosen, it's right for them at the moment. Hopefully they will change and they will become from doing the evil stuff to doing the loving, good, kind stuff. If they never do that, I'm not going to condemn them, because I don't think they're going to go to hell when they die. I think they're going to continue to evolve, and then maybe wherever they go next, wherever that might be, then they will know. Well, that last experience of me being just taking advantage of people and hurting people, whatever, that wasn't right, so I'll do it different. Sounds simple, but it's really, really hard to do. It's hard not to judge people, because that's the way we're made. Here, the 4 points, we got fear and the clarity. And you try to overcome your fears, because, trust me, from my own experience, it may not work for you or anybody else, but anything that you fear will eventually manifest in your life in one way or another, and you won't even know why it's manifested. But it has to. That's the way it's set up. That's the only way you're going to get past it. And you got to overcome the fear. Then you got to get your mind clear to where you know what you want to do. And to me, my philosophy now is just went from all the drama and all the things to get to a certain point. Mine is so simple now. It's just love everything. Whatever befalls you, take it. You may not like it. People do things to you. You don't like it, but you love them. You may have to distance yourself from these people. You may have to get them out of your life completely, but you love them. And you love everything. Whatever happens to you, don't sit around and say, why me? You ought to say, why not me? Because it's actually a good thing. So It will manifest. So you get over your fear, then you get your mind clear. The third thing is power. And to me, this is one of the most trying things to overcome because, again, the ego wants to be in charge. And what Don Juan is talking about, overcoming the power, is when you get to a point where you learn that you can actually create your own reality and have things the way you want them. A lot of people, they become filled with the power, they let the ego take over. They think they're powerful because they've learned a little bit, so they take that power and then they use it to get other people to follow them. Because again, ego gratification. I got all these people following my blog or following my philosophy. I'm their guru, and that becomes a power trip. Just take again, not picking on religion, but take the televangelists. A lot of those people probably started out with really good ideas, and they were so involved with their religion, and it brought them so much peace. They wanted to get this message out, which is well and good. But then they get to the power part of it. It becomes an ego thing. So they think, then they start referring to themselves as a man of God. God talks to me. I'm a prophet, and he's told me to tell you what to do. Well, to me, that's just a bunch of bullshit. Nobody can tell you what you need to do. So that's really, really tricky to get to that point when you do know a certain amount, that you don't use that to satisfy your ego, and you don't look at anybody as under you. Well, they don't know as much as I do. They're still living in the dark. And that's something I had to overcome, because I've, like you talked about earlier, wanting to help people. It's like you wanted to shake some of these people and say, just listen to me and try this, and it's going to make your life better. Well, again, I thought I could help these people. Well, all you can do is just put it out there and let that be suffice. Don't take it on yourself as I'm powerful. I know what they need, because you don't know what they need.
Right, that's true.
And then the last one is the old age. And as Don Juan so eloquently put it, there's no overcoming old age. Trust me. Look at me. I know. You get old and you're going to die. You make your transition into whatever's next. And speaking of whatever's next, there may not be nothing at all. That's a possibility. This may be a one trip as a human being, and then whatever your energy does after that, you may not ever have another recollection ever of what you did. I don't think that's the case, but it's possible. So that would be anybody. I don't give advice, but anybody that tells me that they're not happy, I would tell them, start doing a little quiet time for yourself. Quit blaming everybody and start looking at your own self. Think about how you are, what it is that you've buried in your subconscious mind, and learn what that is. And you'll find out you can get rid of all that. But it's an ongoing thing. It's and again, the ego throws itself in there, and you got to do battle with your ego and keep it content at the same time. So it's a tricky little balance.
Yeah.
But you
and
got
it's
to do
ongoing forever.
It really is. Trust me, because I don't think there's a human being alive that ever gets to the point where they know everything, even about themselves. I think it really is. Until the day you die, you're going to have opportunities to learn more about yourself. And whatever path you choose, like Don Juan, and I keep mentioning Don Juan, but he's like just what he taught just strikes a chord in my heart that feels so good. Whatever path you choose, it doesn't make any difference. He says, try to choose a path with heart, and that's what I do. And that's you decide what it is. What kind of human being do you want to be? Do you want to be one of these people that spread discord and drama and what? Or do you want to be a person who helps others? Or what is it you want to be? And I think if everybody would take an honest look at themselves and get past all their fears, they would finally go back and discover who they really are. Pure spirit. And this pure spirit is nothing but unconditional love. If you get to that point where you know that's what you want to be, it don't mean your life gets simple and easy, because life can be hard, but it gets so much better as long as you've got that to pull on. And once you get that philosophy, it's important that you remain true to it. I don't know how many times I see people with their own personal philosophy. Sounds really good when they tell you about it, but when crunch time comes, I've seen them abandon that philosophy because the ego wants something else for them. So they will manipulate their own philosophy to get what their ego wants. And I see that over and over. And they don't even realize what they're doing. Most people don't. They'll, again, going back to, if you believe in the devil, well, the devil made me do it.